From the KBTV Action Center in Denver, this is 9 News, number 1 in Colorado.
Good evening. Tonight, Weld County authorities are keeping a close watch on floodwaters from a collapsed reservoir. The earthen wall gave way early this morning at the Prospect Valley Reservoir, spilling water across roads and fields. The reservoir is in southwestern Weld County, just south of Highway 52 and west of Highway 79. Part of Highway 52 is closed tonight because of the flooding and may remain closed for several days. Water started moving southwest toward Lord's Reservoir, where spillways are open to keep that dam from breaking too. Law enforcement agencies used Sky 9 early today to survey the collapsed wall and to keep track of the floodwater movement. A Weld County spokesman said the water level at the Prospect Valley Reservoir rose after last week's storm, and a small leak was found this morning shortly before the collapse. The frozen ground isn't soaking up the water, and although officials believe the Lord's Reservoir should hold the excess water, they're still concerned. If the wall at Lord's Reservoir lets go, only several inches of water would cover the area, but authorities are advising residents in an area east of Hudson to evacuate tonight. Haney Howell, photographer Bob Tews, and the live action camera at Weld Central High School. It's been set aside as a center for evacuees. Haney, you've been on this story all day. What's the situation right now?
Linda, I'm standing outside the command post here just above the high school, and things are kind of status quo right now. We've got a watch going on. We're watching the dam at Lord Reservoir very, very carefully. Basically, here's the problem. The Prospect Reservoir is about 5 times as big as the Lord Reservoir. It is emptying out. It's loading up Lord Reservoir, which was already pretty full. They've got it sandbagged right now around the spillways, and they're hoping that's going to hold the spillway in. Now, they know water's going to go over the dam. They know there's going to be some flooding. They're just hoping that that reservoir holds up. And so that's the watch all through this night. Again, a number of people were evacuated earlier in the day. Just after 6 tonight, the evacuation call went out. Most people decided to hang in, but Vern Bond decided to play it safe.
Bags would do any good at that point, and they just don't have time to get them in place.
So what we're talking about is the water from the first reservoir overloading the second reservoir, and now we're going to have both of those reservoirs coming down.
That's correct. And the first reservoir was a large reservoir, about 22,000 acre-feet, I believe, where the small one, the Lord's Reservoir, is only about 1,700 acre-feet, and it just won't hold everything.
So as you can see, that reservoir is filling up. With me right now is Sheriff Harold Andrews. Sheriff, what's your main concern right now?
Well, I think is what we're watching very close right now is the water rising in the Lord Reservoir. If the dam holds, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. But that seems to be our big concern right now.
You put out a request for evacuation. Your troops went out. Most folks said they're going to stay at home. Are you worried about these people's safety? What could happen to them?
Well, I think one of the biggest things that we're concerned about is if water happens to surround them and they're not able to get out if they need to get out. So we have just requested that they evacuate. We haven't taken any other measures other than that, just advising the people there.
When we were flying around today, Sheriff, I noticed a lot of the roads are just gone. I mean, they're just not flooded. They are gone. I think a lot of people are probably not aware of that.
They certainly are, and the bad part of it is we don't know how deep some of those washouts are. So if anyone's out traveling on those roads, they might not want to go through that water because it could be very deep in some areas.
In those washouts, I mean, the whole roadbed's gone.
That's correct, yes.
Good luck, Sheriff. We'll be back in the morning talking to you again.
Okay, thank you.
Sheriff Harold Andrews here in Weld County. And again, Linda, the roads are sealed off, and the sheriff has asked time and time again, and people have been very cooperative, just to stay away from the area because no one quite knows what's going to happen overnight.
Okay, Haney, then at this point there's